Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Wonder Twins Business Hour for July 26th. I'm Ryan Gilliam. With me is Jake the All Right.
Hello, hello.
And we are continuing on our let's try to make these a little smaller and maybe a little bit more frequent task by talking about by taking on two smaller topics. Today we're going to be talking about the Destiny 3 petition, which just went over 400,000 signatures, which is a
Guardians,
yes,
I
thank you.
believe.
400,000 Guardians who have signed on, or maybe not. We'll get into that. But also, then we're going to talk about how Atari has made a Universal movie deal for 10 iconic game properties, including Pong, and get a little bit
Keyword
into
iconic.
yes, iconic. Yes, when everyone thinks about Atari in 2026, that is the first of the words that come to mind. Is it's an icon, baby.
Absolutely.
So just like get jumping right into it off of the rip. The topic here is like, do these petitions matter? Um that has been the big conversation in the Destiny community for one of the big conversations since the game was announced to be end of service. This big petition on change.org went up to say, hey, we should make sure that they know that we wanted Destiny 3. We should do that. We should go in. We should spam the chat on Summer Game Fest and other shows to tell them, hey, we want this game. We're gonna do signatures that worked for World of Warcraft Classic, which we'll also talk about in a minute, and it worked. It worked for them. Maybe it can work for us. And so we have reached a point where there are now 400,000 signatures, which is a ton, and everyone is excited because the World of Warcraft one only made it to just shy of 300,000. And so it feels like a sign, it feels like momentum is growing, it feels like something is happening, and it is a feeling that feels probably very strengthening to the community of Destiny, and probably like it feels great because it feels like everyone's a part of something, and that is kind of the most optimistic thing I have to say about the petition process. Before I launch in, Jake, do you have anything to say about video game petitioning?
Well, I guess maybe we should, I don't know, perhaps maybe you have some input on this. I guess a little bit of clarity in the sense that I do recognize there was like some sort of petition element to like things like stop killing games, but that's kind of different, I think, from what we're talking about because that actually went to like a government, like that's looking for like
Yeah.
regulatory change as opposed to just an online show of force where it's like there's a bunch of fans.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
obviously like maybe, before we dive into it, I think those are kind of separate avenues. Like this isn't people, coming together to ask for I guess a legislative decision to be made about Destiny 3 or, actual consumer rights. This is just people trying to convince a independent company that, hey, you should do what we think on the basis that there's a bunch of us, which is
Yeah.
something that I think is kind of popping up more and more as time goes on, and the websites like change.org become more popular and prevalent.
I mean, I think it's an unfortunate um, feeling of helplessness in the world that we exist in today, especially as it continues as like the systems that were built for fairness and equity are being seen increasingly like they are not really working for the people that they're intended for. Um, I think it makes a lot of sense that as the internet grows and as people are able to come together more, that you go, okay, well, we can do a show force together as a group, and that is how we have power. And in something like a regulatory body like the Stop Killing Games movement, there's a bit more leverage there because the point is not to say is to force these private companies to do something you want. The point is to get the government to force these private companies to
Hmm.
do something that the people want,
Yeah.
which is what the government's job is. Um, as much as it doesn't like to do it. At least in this country. Um, and honestly, all of them at this point. But so that it is a very different conversation because what these change.org things are petitioning for something for both Destiny and World of Warcraft in that case is to say, hey, it's a way to say, hey, look at all of us gathered here to say, please go make this thing that we like. We want to tell you, if you make it, we'll buy it. It will come. That's the point, right? Is like, the idea here is like, will you buy a Destiny 3? Will you sign on to say that you'll buy it? Yes or no? And that is like super admirable. It's understandable why people would want to do that. And also, I don't think it moves the needle really kind of in iota. I think I've said this somewhere online, but like, to me, the harsh reality of the change.org situation is like, this thing would need, genuinely and without exaggeration, minimum 10 million signatures to even show up on someone's desk at Sony. And it's not hard to figure out like why that would be. Because if you go to change.org, like, part of the things that you will see from people trying to get people to sign it and sign on to it, which again is a super admirable process. I appreciate people trying to do it. I am grieving the loss of Destiny as much as I am, and if this helps you, I'm very happy for that being helpful. And I truly want to take away any condescension in that at all. Genuinely, I am happy for you if it is helping. It's a hard time out there for Destiny folks. But the thing about something like change.org is like, you have to think about when someone's advertising it and saying, hey, you should go sign this petition. One of the top things that they say in the community is they'll be like, it's super easy, go sign it. And that in itself is why you have to take a lot of those numbers and reduce them significantly. Because something that is easy to sign, because you don't need an account, you just need a name and then throw it on there, can easily be botted, is one thing. You can pretty easily pump those numbers up if you wanted to, and that's going to be a conversation that's going to happen in a decision-making room. But also, and more importantly, even beyond the bot conversation, if we were to say there are no bots on change.org, they take it very seriously, etc., even though you don't need an account or anything, so the ability to do it is relatively easy compared to some other places where you need like authentication. It's free. It's free to sign it. And something like a Destiny 3 is going to cost at minimum $70, potentially $80 by the time it were to come out, likely on the next generation of consoles. So if you're a discerning business person looking at a petition like this, you have to think, okay, so this is the people that are online enough to know and care and really be there for the game. How many copies realistically are we going to get out of the people that make this? And I think I get the impression that a lot of people who sign these things, like, if you're signing on to it, it means that you're interested enough to care and to drop that $70, $80. And I think probably that attachment rate is actually significantly lower. Like, I think anybody who's coming in, if you're in a suit somewhere in Sony and looking at that number, if you were to suggest that anything more than 50% of those people are going to actually pony up and pay when the time is right, I think you would get laughed out of the room. I think probably the attachment rate is probably lower for most things than 50%, but even if you were just to go with that, if it got 10 million, then we're talking about, 5 million copies sold from the people who signed the petition, which is like, at $70, is like 350 million copies on its own, in terms of 350 million in profit, in quote unquote profit. And that is assuming that all of those copies are bought on the PlayStation Store and none of them are bought on Steam, where Steam takes a healthy chunk. So even taking the most conservative place possible, you're not meeting what is generally considered to be the budget of the game, which will probably be 500 million. That's pre-marketing. Now, on a thing like Destiny, you don't need to make all of your money back instantly, right? It's a long-term play, because you also have expansions and microtransactions and reoccurring costs or whatever. So it's not necessarily tragic if something like Destiny 3 would only make 350 million. I think it would probably make more than that, to be honest with you, but I'm also hopeful about, like, bullish about what I think Destiny would do. And you can't make, it is still a risk that it would not make that. And I understand, as much as I hate it, why it is a risk. But so even if it were to do that, though, and make that 350, and then you'd be like, okay, well, but then it's going to make expansions, and they're going to keep going, and they're going to make microtransactions and all that type of stuff. Then you got to think, like, well, how many people of those 5 million are going to come back and buy the expansion? Maybe half, maybe a little more. And then you have to compare that to the fact that the studio is going to take another year at least to make it. So you need at least another 100 million to sustain the studio. And at some point you start reaching margins that like Sony is like, no, that's too risky. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Why would we risk $500 million, $600 million for multiple years of development on something when we're only going to get back, when we might break even on year 2? It becomes quite difficult. And I think like people have to remember that most people who bought Destiny 2 at the beginning are not online enough to know it's even happening. Most people who bought Destiny 2 at the beginning and who would buy Destiny 3 because it would be largely marketed are people who are like outside of the space. D2, the reason D2 sold so much is it was not catered towards the audience of people who eventually became the hardcore for it, which isn't to say that like Destiny 3 would come out and have the same problems D2 did at launch. I'm more meaning to say that like it would be picked up by a lot of people who had never had any intention of continuing forward with it long after that launch window was out. So that's why you say that the expansion group is going to be significantly lower than the base launch of the game. The point is like, I think what these petitions have done, if they've done anything, what we can hope for if they've done anything, is that they have maybe made somebody who is a little too online in the C-suite of Sony maybe say something like, oh, did we fuck up by putting Destiny on the back burner? Which is the same thing that I would say about the whole like spamming of we want Destiny 3 everywhere in the chats places. Is I think you could maybe get there's a possibility that someone there is like, oh, well, seems like there's a passionate group, which maybe could potentially lead to, if Bungie were to repitch something Destiny related, maybe somebody who's taking that pitch would be a little more interested to hear it. I think that's probably the best case scenario for something like this, is that you raise the profile of how much people want the brand and how loyal the audience is. That feeling of camaraderie that everyone has together doing this is the thing that could pass through, but it by no means is going to be a thing where like if we reach a certain number of people who've signed it, they're gonna greenlight the game. Because that's just not how that shit works. It's a vibe. It's a vibe where people are like, oh, okay, if there's people in Sony, they're like, people don't care about Destiny anymore. Then they might be able to look at this and go, well, at least some people care about Destiny enough to be loud about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think whether that factors into the decision to make it, I think that's very unlikely, and it's different than the WoW situation, for reasons that I can get into in a minute. But I yield the floor. I've been talking for like 6 minutes straight.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think ultimately cash rules everything. So
Yes.
it seems like Sony is surely aware, and Bungie obviously is surely aware that they have a valuable property in Destiny. Like this, there is inherent value to owning that property, but it seems like the problem is, can Bungie find a way to produce something or make something out of that property that would make monetary sense to Sony? And obviously, because Sony is a soulless megacorp, it seems like it kind of would have to be something that's financially extremely successful in a capacity that maybe currently they don't have the ability to produce. But I do think like the fact that Destiny community does have so many strong, I mean, think about how many businesses exist off the fact that Destiny exists. I think GCX is going on right now, which originally started as a Destiny, Guardian Con maybe was the name.
Yes,
I don't know
yeah.
exactly.
It's not that anymore, but it's not just dedicated to that anymore. But yeah,
now it's like a general gaming thing. But
Mhm.
but content creators and stuff like this. I mean, there's a lot of people who run entire businesses around this property, and there's a big fan community and audience of people who would engage with something. But yeah, at the end of the day, the back end of how much money is it making, how much is it costing to make, is always going to outweigh whatever people do outside of that or on the internet. But I think they're aware. I think they're aware that there's something there. It's just, will they be able to find a way to capitalize on that?
Yes, the good news of all of this stuff is that I think the petition has done its job. But it is something that is going to be easily ignorable until it reaches like millions and millions and millions of signatures, and then it's the attitude of like this will force them to see us is just not the case. I wish it was. It's just not. But it is at least like people can see that the community is loud and that the people that like that it's it's a job generator. How many people that I followed on YouTube and places over the years do I only know because of it that have made a living off of being covering the game. I made a living off of covering Destiny. I would have covered other stuff through my job otherwise, but like my job was like Destiny correspondent for a long time, and it was popular enough that I was able to always get time to dedicate to it, which can be hard as a full-time staff person to be like, hey, I know a bunch of stuff's coming out, but there's a Destiny update, and for people to be like, oh yeah, go do Destiny stuff, is significant. That dwindled over the years, but the franchise is powerful, and it is good to know that there are so many people. I find it heartening to know as a fan that there are so many people who are willing to fight for it. I just think we need to temper our expectations a little bit, which I know isn't fun and also sucks. And also, like, if you want to, like, the real thing that would help with this kind of stuff in the future is stop killing games. Like, that is the thing to turn your eye to if you're interested in this kind of thing. If you're like, I'm interested in advocating for this game that I care about, that I love, in by virtue of the industry, stop killing games is the thing you should be looking at, and stuff like it. You try and petition to stop places like Sony and Bungie from being able to do things like take away large, like how much content is now will never be seen again in Destiny that people worked hard to make, how much art that people worked hard to make is just gone for forever, only ever seeable on YouTube. That I think is like the path forward. Excuse me. The World of Warcraft thing, just to address that really quickly, is slightly different here in terms of like if you go to change.org, the petition for those legacy servers are like victorious, sold, we did it. That's a little bit different. First of all, because like the development time of something like WoW Classic seems like it was significantly lower than something like a Destiny 3 would be. I feel like I recall them remembering that Blizzard had sold like blades of the old servers before and was actually asking for them back for the property of remaking them for WoW Classic when they announced it. Also, like Blizzard was literally losing money on something like the like illegal servers that people were running. Like people were running servers for WoW on their own, and then that led to Blizzard being like, "Oh, okay, well we could make money off of this." Like nobody out there can remake a classic server of Destiny 2 Season of Opulence. I would love it if they could. If send me an email if that's the case, but like that's not happening, so it's a little bit of a different situation. Also, I think Blizzard at the time was in a different we were in a very different position and place in terms of like money spending habits at the time for companies, even companies like Activision, compared to like right now. Things are just really if Destiny had died any other time a couple of years ago, I think it would have been a much easier green light. But in a post Concord world, not because of Concord's failure, like not like Concord is responsible type of thing, but in a world where a failure of that capacity can be possible, where they lose so much money on something because it just doesn't work. Sony's being a lot more cautious, I think, to some degree, understandably, but
have we adopted that as the official? There are two eras of gaming. There is BC and there is PC. There's before Concord and post Concord. And
well, you gotta be careful. PC is going to get a very different acronym from certain people.
Yeah. Does that make Concord Jesus? Did Concord die to absolve us of our gaming sins?
It didn't. I don't think it absolved anything, but it died for sins for sure. But like, yeah, I think. I mean, I do genuinely think that Concord was one of the biggest shocks in the industry. Not even like speaking to the quality of the game, just in terms of like how much money was spent on it versus like how it was one of the first big like incubation projects that cost hundreds of millions of dollars that just came out and did nothing. And there were plenty of games that came out and did nothing like from our childhood, but they cost a lot less than 350 million, especially in I think that's the number. Apology if it's not, but in even in 90s to early 2000s money, those games cost a lot
Yeah.
less than that when they came out and failed, and even with inflation.
And
So,
and still most of the time had more players, I think, actually.
well, it certainly hurts your player
Potentially.
number when you take the game offline 2 weeks later. But yes,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, like, and Sony just panicked, and I mean, it's like it's the it's what the places are doing it with movies and things like that. You make it, you lose enough money on something, it's a tax. It becomes a tax benefit. So, as long as you're careful about it. So I don't know. That's like again, if you want to be, if you want to make, if you don't, if you want to see stuff like Destiny dying stop, it has to happen from a regulatory standpoint. We have to like close some of these tax loopholes. We want to see stuff like Batgirl not get canceled. Who knows whether that movie would have been any even worthwhile at all. But like, if you want to see completely done movies, like if you don't want to see the thing with Acme versus Roadrunner happen again, or is it versus Acme versus
Yeah.
Cody? I don't know. That movie looks great. I'm excited to see it. But if you
Yeah.
don't want to see that kind of stuff happen again, it has to happen from a regulatory standpoint. They have to close loopholes, or else companies are going to keep going like, well, if it fails too bad, we can just tax it. So, yeah, it's bad. It's bad. It's not good, and I don't want to be a killer of hope, but all when you see people be like tout the numbers on YouTube and be like, this is huge, this is amazing. It's not huge. It's not big enough. I wish it was, but I would be I would look at that kind of thing with a very skeptical eye. I don't think we have any proof that it would is gonna make a significant difference. Anyway, bummer.
Maybe in a PC world, this is the gaming low point. Maybe it's all up from here.
Yes.
Brighter
Yes.
futures ahead.
Yes. Yes.
Or we descend deeper into the depths,
Deeper
Dark
into the
Souls
depths.
style.
Once deeper into the depths with Centipede the movie. Yes.
Is it time? Is
Is
it
it? Oh,
time for
it's
video
yeah.
game movies?
It's so time. Yes, I can't honestly of this list that you said of so. Do you want to go over this, and read the
Yeah,
list of
okay.
games here? Like,
Yeah, okay, so Atari has made a deal, or it's become public that they made a deal with Universal Movie Group, I guess, for 10 iconic game properties is the language that's used across these articles. So we can expect, or at least the rights exist for movies to be produced for these Atari films. Is it fair? Do we maybe need to take a step back, Ryan? Like Atari, a video game company, were they last making games? 80s? Early 90s? I like
oh man, my history on that.
significant.
Yeah, like
I
not
mean, so
really
a
in my
classic company.
lifetime. Yeah, I mean, like it's yes, like I mean, Atari still is like I think is like still attached to certain things, but like it's yeah, I mean, like yeah,
It's
this
been a
is not.
long time.
Look, somebody at Atari got a bag for this, and suckered Universal out of one, and I think that's great for them. Um, so if nothing
Yeah,
else, some old company being like, we're completely irrelevant. What can we do? Absolutely walked into that meeting and being like, they bought it. They bought it.
yeah,
Those fucking
yeah.
idiots.
They did it.
I'm making it. I'm
I
building a
guess they're
second
looking out for
pool. Yeah.
the success of the Minecraft movie and the Mario movies. They're like, shit. Universal's like, we could do something like that.
Which is
And
crazy
to
because
achieve that kind of
yeah,
success, they've gotten Asteroids, Adventure, Berserk, Breakout, Centipede, Crystal Castles, Millipede, Missile Command, Yar's Revenge, and Pong.
honestly, a Centipede movie could go fucking hard. If they get Zach Krieger in here for this one, maybe once he's done, once he's done making Resident Evil and being made miserable by a bunch of Resident Evil fans, get him in there to make a Centipede movie. Um, I'd watch the hell out of that. That'd be terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, with all of these movies, I mean, the graphical fidelity of when they were released was pretty low. So I'd imagine any kind of reimagining or remake would be pretty outside of the box. I mean, I guess you could take the concept. I mean, Ryan, what does even like Berserk, Breakout, Like, do these mean Missile Command even? Like, does this mean anything to
So
anybody? Like, if you were to
Breakout,
put that on a
yes.
like,
Breakout is no well known as a different genre now, which is a brick breaker games. Um,
mhm.
every mom on Earth has a Breakout game on their phone. Ball Pit from last year, Ball X Pit, is a Breakout like. So yeah, like some of these games still are they're obviously super influential. I mean, like I would hope some they would go a different direction with it. I hope a Pong movie is just an hour and a half of watching Pong. I think that could really be an interesting like social experiment to see how something like that could go. Can we
I love
cast
that
the
that's
two
the
different
direction you're
characters?
taking it.
That would be excellent. On like cast two different characters as like the paddle and one character is the ball, and each time it's just you're just watching Pong, and each time one of the paddles hits something, they say a line of dialogue. And
See,
then
I
yeah.
would want like a really it takes itself way too serious Marty Supreme style Pong that has nothing to do with Pawn actually, except instead of calling it, whatever ping pong, they just call it Pong.
Oh, Marty Supreme.
Oh, Marty Supreme.
Oh, Marty
Yeah, Missile
Supreme.
Command.
Yeah, yeah. Missile
Missile
Command is just
Command's
like
one they
would
could
just be
do.
dystopian. I feel like. I mean, there's plenty here. Like, I mean, I think it'd be the funniest possible thing that they could do is re-release Michael Bay's Armageddon's and just put the word asteroids on top of it instead. And just, you go to it and it's just Armageddon, uncut, unchanged, no different. And then all you do is you replace the title card, and that's it. I think that would be great.
That's
I
it.
would go see it.
Out of all of them, I think Asteroid maybe is the one that's most likely. We also know that one of these 10 are in production of some kind. We don't know which one, but one of these movies is actually either in pre-production. It's getting made, and there's names attached to it here. Matt Riley and Carl Hamp, who I'm not familiar with at all, and I looked them up and wasn't familiar with anything they have done. So one of these is even being made right now. Like we can expect potentially a Pong or an Asteroids or Missile Command movie within the next few years, I guess.
This feels just like does this not feel like it is intentionally designed to like launder money? Like this feels like the type
Yeah,
of thing. This feels like that business you drive by in your town and you're like, no one's ever there, but it's been open for 25 years.
yeah, like
I don't know
every
what's
furniture
happening.
store kind of
Yes,
deal. Yeah.
100%. Where you're like, there was a Boston market where I used to live for a while that was like, no one has visited this. I've never seen anyone in this Boston market drive-through ever, one time. And I was like, if I were to walk in there, there would be some vaguely Italian person being like, whoa, 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 what are you doing? Like 100%. There was a cigar store by where I lived that 100% was like if I were to walk in there, there'd be a bunch of Italian American people who looked like me looking over like, who invited this guy? 100%. And that's what these movies all feel like. Is like they're gonna like if anybody who goes in and buys a ticket, there's gonna be someone with like a silenced pistol in the back of the auditorium ready to take him out. Like I don't understand. I would love to have. I would much rather have a movie about the person who made this deal at Atari and sold the rights and the day that he had after than any of the 10 of these.
Okay, so that's very funny. You're right. That story might be more interesting because it's also noted in the Deadline article that Universal like didn't issue a comment when they were asked about it, but the chairman and CEO of Atari did. He said, "For more than 5 decades, Atari has created games and worlds that have remained part of popular culture long after their original release. We are excited to work with Universal and Entertainment 360 to bring the spirit of our iconic brand and games to a new medium." So I agree. They're probably popping champagne at Atari, and
Yeah.
Universal is like, we don't want to talk about this.
Someone at Universal was like, "Wait, what did my nephew do?" Like is 100% like the vibe of this. Uh yeah, it's ridiculous. I can't wait. I mean, I think an Asteroids movie is probably, I agree with you, probably the most likely. Of after that, I think Centipede is what I would most want to see. I don't know what like a that that like whatever these are, you're gonna see like a fucking annoying like version of the game being played like in the background on an arcade machine.
Oh, you gotta
Or like
have the product placement kind
yeah,
of remember the classic. Yeah.
yeah, break out some movie about a bunch of asteroids coming to Earth and we have to build a big pad to send them back into space. Uh and you're gonna see it's gonna open with some mom playing a Brick Breaker game on her phone on like Anne Hathaway's playing a Brick Breaker game on her phone on an airplane as like rocks start falling down from the sky.
Oh wait, yes. Okay, so Anne Hathaway, she's playing the modern brick breaker.
Yeah,
She's like, some sort of engineer.
yeah,
Sitting next to her is, really nerdy guy. He like leans over, he goes, that's actually based on the original Atari game.
yeah. And then a rock flies through the airplane right into him, and he explodes everywhere.
Yeah, everyone goes flying out of the cabin. She survives. Now she's
it,
tormented
yeah.
by that event, and she has to create the paddle that's going to defeat the asteroids coming. Yeah.
Hire us, man. We're available. Universal, if you want this problem to go away, we can make it happen fast.
Yeah, we'll solve this. Get rid of those.
We'll solve this
we
one for you.
Got the script. Kotaku also noted in their article that I guess Atari is owned by Atari SA, which I guess might have the rights to Roller Coaster Tycoon, System Shock, and Bubsy. So maybe there are some other games.
Bubsy's got a new game. He can get a movie.
There we go. It seems like this deal is only about these about 10 properties, but perhaps in the future, the business connection is there, so maybe we get the Bubsy.
Yeah, once you get Atari World going up at Universal Studios, and everyone's clamoring for the Pong ride, then yeah, we'll see Bubsy get in there.
Phase 4 of the ACU is the Bubsy film.
There is something so incredible about somewhere like Universal Studios making a movie about Roller Coaster Tycoon. That is just great. Truly delightful for me. I mean the roller, the actual like experience at the park would just be, there was like this Disney used to have this like Imaginarium place in like downtown Disney, and I went there with my dad when I was a kid, and I remember they had like this circular machine that you could sit in, you can build your own roller coaster, and it would basically roll you, like run it like you were going, it was like a virtual roller coaster. And that is just like what I've already ridden the Roller Coaster Tycoon ride when I was like 12.
So the technology exists.
It exists. We've had it. It's been there. So
yeah,
we're just not doing anything with it.
Yeah. So this is great. We're glad Atari's getting filmed. But I think the more important discussion here, Ryan, is best video game movies. You've also included shows here. I wasn't thinking about shows. I do feel like shows are pretty, like there's some
shows have kind of actually hit
game shows.
Yes. Video games seem to translate better when you can have a little bit more time to explore them. But we've had some okay video game movies that we can, I don't know, like, we're just mentioning, we don't need to talk from the show perspective, but like, Arcane, Last of Us, the first season at least, and Fallout, I think have all been like very successful. And if as successful and good. Also, there's like the Netflix anime ones like Castlevania and Cyberpunk, Devil May Cry, and everything like
Edge Runners. Edge Runners in the first season of Last of Us are probably for sure.
I still have not seen Edge Runners. I need to.
Oh,
the Halo series, of course.
Yeah. Oh, Master Cheeks is in it. You're right. Anytime we get the butt out. Yeah. Okay.
Thank God.
Did you actually watch?
I watched the first season.
Halo. You watched it. Okay.
I watched the entirety of the first season. Yes, there was. I've heard in some ways it's better. But yeah, he fucks in that show, and it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. I don't know. Of those that are currently going on, Fallout is I think probably the best on that list for my money. As somebody who, as last episode of the show said, I don't like it. Don't like Fallout, but the movie conversation is a lot more depressing. And actually, you can't see me right now, but you'll see me in that. I'll put on my uniform for this, which I did accidentally, by the way.
I'm excited for that. Okay, I think objectively, and you can tell me if I'm wrong about this.
Yeah.
I feel like the Minecraft movie and the first new Mario movie, the Illumination Mario movie, I think in terms of overall quality, presentation, and success, I think maybe objectively those are the best video game movies so far. I think
I think the
not
Sonic
my
movies are
personal.
pretty. Yeah, not my personal.
Oh,
I think the
Sonic, you're
Sonic
right.
movies are
Maybe the
actually
Sonic
pretty
movies.
good. As somebody who does not like
Yeah.
Sonic, I will say I think the Mortal Kombat movies are pretty fun. Um, I don't necessarily think they're
You've seen the
good.
new one, right? You
I've
saw the
seen
one that
one
came out
and
this year.
two. I liked one originally, and I think two was plenty of fun. They're not good.
Is Carl Urban? Is he
Carl Urban is in two. He's Johnny
He's in
Cage
two.
in two,
Okay. I
which is
feel
great
like that's
casting,
pretty good.
inspired casting.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like an aging Johnny Cage is really good. But yeah, I think like the Mario ones have at least. I don't know if those are good. I like watching them. My daughter likes them, and so it's fun experiencing them with her. Um, but yeah, I don't think they're necessarily like. I don't think they're good.
I think the
I like
first
them.
one.
Yeah, the
The
first.
first
I mean,
one's a solid movie. A solid all around.
yeah.
For a Mario, its
See,
obvious
I
audiences,
kind of think the
minions,
quality
kids.
of the first one is kind of like. I think the quality of them they're pretty similar. I did not find the second one to be like. I found it to be very similar in terms of its watchability as the first one is. I think they're both
The
kind of
second
like they're
one
cute.
felt a little less coherent to me.
Sure.
It felt like there was a little bit less connection between what was going on, but there was a lot more in it, right? There was a lot more
Yeah.
going on. So
It's all they're just spectacle movies, you know. It's crazy,
yeah.
by the way, if you're looking at like a list of video game movies, how fast we get to sub 50% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Almost immediately.
Almost immediately, yeah. It's like it is, yeah. As soon as we get to like 15, number 15, the Minecraft movie, we're gone. Minecraft movie, one of the only movies I have, like newer movies that I have slept through almost all of, on my first viewing in the theater. Normally, I love going to the movies, and we sat down for that one on like we had like a day off from kids and went out to a movie, sat down, and I was like, I woke up like 60 minutes into that thing and was like, I have no idea what's happening. I saw the chicken jockey thing.
I feel like
I made it
with
to
the
that.
Minecraft movie, my experience was very much so elevated by the fact that my kids play. We play so much Minecraft together, and when I
Yeah.
saw it with them, they were very excited. So it was elevated by the energy of the room,
Yeah.
even if and I also like the idea that they went in a very odd direction. I believe the director was the guy who did Juno, maybe? Is that correct?
Is that right?
I might be wrong. It was like some sort of like indie kind of guy, I thought. Maybe I'm entirely making this up. But I feel
Napoleon
like
Dynamite?
Napoleon Dynamite, maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, I wanted to direct right now, Napoleon Dynamite. Nacho Libre.
Yes.
Yeah, Jared Hess.
But I like the idea they took it in a weird, like it's a very weird movie. Like it's very nonsensical. It's not like
Yes.
really about the world of Minecraft. It's about like people going into the world of Minecraft, which is kind of a silly way to take it. So
Yeah, and I'm glad that Jack Black is making money. I still like Jack Black. So I'm, Jack Black as Minecraft Steve is an interesting choice, but I don't know. Wait, is it controversial to say you like Jack Black now because of the Tenacious D stuff that happened?
he did fuck over Kyle, didn't he?
He
In a
did
way.
well.
But I think they're back together now.
They are. I mean, look, I think people getting mad at Jack Black for that is both understandable as somebody who loves Tenacious D, and but also like, dude is in a bunch of kids movies and shit, and
He's a sellout.
Yeah,
That's part of
I
Jack
think
Black,
that's
which is fine.
yeah, that's fine. But I think that's fine. But like, I understand him making distance. We were certainly at a slightly different time on the rise of political violence spectrum that I think everyone is being a little squeamish about things. Understandably so. And I even now feel like I need to be careful. I'm gonna get myself in trouble like in this conversation. So like, I don't know, but I generally like Jack Black as a dude, and otherwise he's usually he's pretty outspoken on things that suck. So I think he's cool. I'm glad he made money off of it. I think you and I were both talking beforehand. I think the best movie on this entire list, or at least up there, is Detective Pikachu.
Yeah, Detective Pikachu is fantastic. I wasn't even remembering Detective because it's like there's so many bad video game
Yeah.
movies that it really, even the ones that like kind of do something interesting and have great performances, almost aren't as memorable because it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's a pretty, that's fine.
And this one didn't get a sequel because we live in the worst timeline. It's like this and fucking Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves, and He-Man and Master of the Universe aren't going to get sequels because no one watched them. And meanwhile, we're getting, another Angry Birds movies.
I have some copium. I think Honor Among Thieves is going to get a sequel.
I fucking hope so, dude. I hope so. That movie has become such a cult classic that I think eventually it will. But man, it's so good. It deserved to be so much better. They made such a good D&D movie. It's such a bummer, but they did that with Detective Pikachu. Like that, they made a world of Pokemon that feels alive. That Psyduck has a car seat. It's beautiful. It's perfect. Yeah, he has a car seat so he doesn't get stressed on car rides and kill everyone. It's perfect. Like they managed to make the perfect Pokemon thing, and then they just, because it has one dumb twist in the movie, they were like, can't do anymore. Can't do anymore.
Yeah, that was good. Are there any bad ones that you like? Like, okay, for example, I don't think it's a good movie, but I enjoyed the Warcraft movie. I liked just the visual representation of those
Warcraft
things happening.
tough.
It was not good. But I liked seeing the things. I enjoyed it. The original Super Mario Bros. With fucking John Leguizamo is fun. Oh, it's fun. It's a fun movie. The Need for Speed with Aaron Paul also, which I'm seeing on this list, that was a bad movie. That was fun to watch.
I think I stopped watching that movie once. I started and stopped it.
Okay, what about the classic Resident Evil movie, the Mia Jovovich
Resident Evils are pretty fun in a stupid way. We also were talking about this. I mean, those movies are also basically, I think, money laundering, because her husband directs them
for sure.
So but also like they are pretty fun. I think, to me, in terms of like bad movies on this list that I don't fully, I mean, like the original Tomb Raider is kind of fun. The Angelina Jolie one,
the one with Angelina Jolie,
it's kind of fun.
She punches a shark in the nose.
Fucking hell yeah, dude. I honestly didn't hate the Uncharted movie the way that everyone else did. I don't like Mark Wahlberg's casting decision as Sully, but I like Tom Holland as Nate. I don't think that's bad, and I think
he played it a little too early. If that movie was being made right now.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. Yeah, I think if it came out 4 or 5 years later, I think it's a little better. But yeah, because him being like a bartender feels a little bit more like age appropriate.
Yeah.
Or whereas
but for me, the Uncharted movie kind of falls into the same category of like the Assassin's Creed movie, where it's like, oh my god, they did that movie. I forgot completely that they actually did a movie like for that franchise.
Yeah, which is like totally fair, because how could you not? Yeah, like it's, some things just blow past, and some things don't deserve that, and other things definitely just, it's rough. I mean, I do actually feel pretty confident looking at this list that just on his other body of work, that Zach Krieger's Resident Evil will probably be the best video game movie at some point. Like, the likelihood is very high, just when you look at its competition.
Well, and I think that Zach Krieger recently, if you haven't seen, I know Ryan's seen it, we were talking about it, but if you guys haven't seen, he went to Comic-Con, which is, I think, going on this past week and this weekend. And he's been doing a handful of interviews about it. And I heard him touch on, I think, the thing that makes a video game movie good, which is not like porting the story of a video game to a movie, but taking the elements of the video game that people connect with and showing that, like representing that in the film format, which I think is the key to success. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because he talked about it very specifically. Like, you don't want to have a situation where you're like, announce the casting for Leon Kennedy and everyone's like, oh, that sucks. Like, you don't like, but that's 100% what happens when anything like this goes down, is everyone has to debate on it. So it's like, he's there. He is very clearly going for something that is spiritual. I mean, he's played all the games. He's an actual, like, I think I would rather live in a world where I think fans being like, let the fans make stuff doesn't always work out super good. Sometimes it does, though. But I think the way that he talks about it, his approach to the whole thing, sounds the best in terms of like my personal opinion on these kinds of things. It's like, I want somebody who is familiar with the source material, so that it's not just totally random, and that there is some reverence for it, but also understands the assignment of like, let's not like, Resident Evil 2 still stands strong as its own piece of beautiful and wonderful art. It does not need a film adaptation to be validated, which it kind of feels like there's still some element of Hollywood stuff where it's like, oh, well, by making an adaptation of it, we have validated this as art. And it's like, no, it's good on its own. It doesn't need it. But something that is a spiritual sequel to these things, like I heard him talking about being like, well, if this movie was Resident Evil 10, I think it would work. I think people would be like, oh, that makes sense. But it's, instead of being a game, it's a movie. And I think like that's perfect. That's the perfect attitude for something that I would want of Resident Evil. And all of us Resident Evil fans are so fucking lucky to have an actual director behind the wheel of it. And so everyone should please also shut the fuck up and leave him alone. Because like I would like yes, I would like more good directors to actually direct, like A, have his attitudes towards stuff like this, and B, like come in and want to direct these movies for game people to show up and pay for. So like I need this thing to be both successful, and I need everyone to be like, oh, that was actually pretty good. Which I don't think either. I don't know if either of those things will happen, but I hope they do. I don't know. Weapons did pretty good. So I think being able to put from the director of Weapons on your poster will probably bode well for the movie.
Yeah. And getting a prequel, I guess, about the origin of
Gladys.
I don't want to spoil.
Oh,
Gladys.
Yeah. But I think you can say those words. They don't mean much to people until you know.
I couldn't remember her name, so I was just going to describe her.
Oh, yes. Until the origins of Gladys are.
Yeah, that'd be good. How'd you feel? Oh my, dude, this list is because I didn't even look up the list till you had said that before we started recording. The Doom. You remember the first-person shooter section of the Doom movie? What did you think about that?
I have not seen the Doom movie. Somehow I have missed it.
Doom movie with Dwayne Johnson has a scene that's in first person, which honestly, there was a movie that was made all in first person called Hardcore Henry, which was kind of video game.
Yes, I remember when that was coming out. I don't think I actually... Did you see Hardcore Henry? I don't think I made it to
I did. I enjoyed it.
Yeah?
It was fun.
I feel like it was decent.
It was a cool concept. It was like a really cool concept to get to see it in a long format. And also, I'm seeing here the Max Payne movie, fucking with Sully, Mark Wahlberg, which is just crazy that
Sully
these
himself
properties have movies. Mark Wahlberg in there, which is crazy. Yeah, I don't know. The future is bright. We got Atari movies to look forward to. We got Markiplier doing fucking Iron Lung. Maybe he's gonna make another video game. Oh, we have Jacksepticeye doing the Bloodborne movie in some capacity as like a producer or director or something.
Right? Yeah, the Bloodborne movie is gonna be that'll be interesting.
Be interesting. Animated, maybe he said. I'm forgetting the details exactly, but
we're getting an Elden Ring movie also. That's being shot currently.
Really? Wait, who's is there anyone involved?
Remember.
Is it someone though?
It's someone, yeah. It's Ben Whyshaw's in it. Oh right, Nick Offerman's in it. Oh, it's directed by Alex Garland. That's right. That could be good.
Holy shit! Yeah, that could be
pretty fucking good. I mean,
Alex Garland of Warfare.
God, Warfare is so good.
Civil War.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Warfare is an upsetting time to sit through, but it's fantastic. Yeah, so I mean that could be good. I mean, I think a part of me always will be sad. I think he would never do it, and that's why I love him, is that he would never do it. But I feel like I would, if I'm gonna watch a movie that is in the From Software universe, I feel like I would want it to be Robert Eggers to making it.
Oh my, yeah, dude. Especially with his
He
like
would
attention to
never
detail
do it.
for historical
He'd
accuracy.
never do it, and again, that's why we love him, is that he'd never do it. But fuck, dude, an Elden Ring movie by Robert Eggers would be unbelievably good. Maybe he'll make the Dark Souls movie in a couple of years, and it'll be like
Yeah, right.
blow people away.
That'd be fantastic. If you've never seen his director's commentary for The Witch is so
Oh, I have
fun.
not seen the
It's
commentary.
so good. You could just maybe just look it up on YouTube. There's a supercut, but he does a director's commentary, and like half
I
of
love
the
him.
director's commentary is him like pointing out shit that he hates about the movie. And it's the
That's
most,
how you
like,
know he's a real artist.
yes, it's like it's so granular too. He's like talking about like how they maybe he should have CGI'd out her earring piercings in the close-up shots,
Oh
and
my
like
God.
the wood was not stacked in a period accurate way and stuff like this. It's really good. I forget all the exact details.
What a dork. I love him. Is he at least nice about all the actors' performances and everything? He's not nitpicky about
Yes,
them?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
good,
for
good,
sure.
good.
It's not mean, but you could tell he's just so
tortured about.
particular. Yeah.
I mean, that's why,
real
Steven Spielberg hates Jaws. And it's still probably his best movie. So that's how you know that we're dealing with a real one.
Yeah.
Is that he can't fucking,
For
he
sure.
can't deal with it. Plus Robert Eggers would get Ralph Ineson into an Elder Scroll. Into an Elden Ring. We would get Ralph Ineson as Margaret the Fellow, which would be the best thing to ever happen to me, I think, in my entire life. So,
God, Bloodborne's so fucking good, dude.
Yeah, we could still get, yeah, I don't know if they're casting. If you're casting Bloodborne, Ralph Ineson as Girahim the First Hunter would be pretty fucking good too. So if you're making a movie, just put Ralph Ineson in it. I think he's got a good voice. Turns out. Anyway, video game movies. Jake, this was supposed to be shorter, and I talked.
We almost did it.
No, I don't think so. Actually, we're almost 10 minutes longer than we were last time, and last time we were like, we should maybe try to get that a little shorter, right? But so no, maybe we'll figure it out, but maybe not. Maybe not.
Wonder Twins.
Yep.
Business Hour. We're officially licensing that from Warner Brothers as well.
Yes.
So look out for.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Once you see a little copyright symbol on our logos, everything's gone through and everything's going good.
Yeah.
Anyway, please, like and subscribe, all that cool jazz. The outpouring of support for the channel has been awesome. A little over 400 subscribers at the time that we're recording this, which is crazy because a week ago I was like at 40. So, very much appreciate it. Very kind. And huge shout out to Jake for helping make all of this possible to begin with. Speaking of which, Jake, do your plugs for your very good channel.
Like, subscribe, send this video to your mother, to your in-laws. Send this video to your in-laws.
Yep.
You're married, you're obligated to.
Yep.
We're trying to get the elder demographic as well. If you know anyone over 50 or 60, send this to them.
And my mom watches the stuff on my channel and tells me I do a good job.
Oh,
so
adorable.
She doesn't understand what I'm talking
Shout
about.
out Ryan's mom.
Yeah,
we love you.
Shout out Karen. You definitely made it this far into this thing. So hey, also Jake the Alright. If Jake's not going to do it, it's a very good channel, especially if you like things about game that shall not be mentioned. Marathon.com. Very good game, very good channel. And also like Jake's gonna be doing some really exciting stuff on that channel too, since Marathon's gonna go away again. So
full tasteful nudes.
Yes.
We're doing full nude.
Incredible.
Well, I won't spill any more details.
No, Marathon's not gonna go. Maybe we'll see. We do a Marathon podcast about that if you want to hear about it with Sierra 9 called Escape Will Make Me Pod, and but also lots of fun, interesting stuff happening. Lots more stuff coming on this channel with things, and thanks again for the support of my Destiny video that's doing very well, so I really appreciate it. All right, we will be back with more gaming news. Hopefully it'll be good. Probably not in the coming week. So thanks everybody.